Game shows owned the 1970s. Before streaming, before primetime television drama, families gathered around their living rooms to watch strangers answer trivia questions and spin massive wheels. But here's what blew my mind. The most iconic game shows weren't actually the only ones people watched. Between The Price is Right and Family Feud, networks aired absolute fever dreams that America has completely forgotten. Some shows were so bizarre, so chaotic, so unexpectedly brilliant that today's networks wouldn't dare greenlight them. These are the forgotten gems that kept millions of viewers glued to their screens. The Wizard of Oz, 1973–1974. Alex Trebek's American television career almost never happened. In 1973, the Canadian host debuted on NBC's The Wizard of Oz, a statistical trivia game hosted by the wily wizard himself. The show featured contestants answering questions about probability and odds, which sounds intellectually thrilling but played out as completely bizarre television. Alan Thicke, who would later become famous for composing TV themes, actually co-produced the show and wrote the unforgettable theme song. Trebek spent just 1 year on this oddball concept before it flopped spectacularly. Networks wiped nearly all the tapes because they believed the show held no archival value. Only about 1 episode still exists anywhere in the world. The Wizard of Oz was supposed to catapult Trebek to stardom. Instead, it nearly ended his career before High Rollers rescued him. Critics called it off the wall, and they weren't wrong. Yet, in retrospect, The Wizard of Oz represented something genuinely different about 1970s game show experimentation. Trebek's composed professionalism couldn't overcome a format that confused audiences. The show lasted less than a year, making it one of American television's most forgotten failures by a future legend. What's wild is that NBC's policy of erasing and reusing expensive videotapes destroyed television history. High Rollers, 1974, 1976, 1978, 1980. When High Rollers debuted in July 1974, it became a different breed of game show entirely. Created by Merrill Heater and Bob Quigley, the same producers behind Hollywood Squares, High Rollers adapted the classic dice game Shut the Box into television spectacle. Alex Trebek hosted contestants who answered trivia questions to gain control of gigantic oversized dice. The numbers 1 through 9 covered a game board, and rolling the dice meant contestants could bank prizes by eliminating matching number combinations. The show featured massive prize columns that accumulated prizes throughout each game. Trebek's charm made High Rollers a genuine hit, replacing The Wizard of Oz and actually performing well in ratings. During the iconic final episode of the 1978-1980 run, Internet legend claims Trebek hosted while either drunk or profoundly impaired. He uttered bizarre phrases like, "Many moon come," "a niner," and "staying alive with the bee." Geez, while announcing the fishbowl as a prize. The show's format proved so successful that it returned in 1987 with Wink Martindale hosting. High Rollers represented intelligent game show design, blending genuine chance with trivia knowledge. Today, almost all episodes are lost because NBC erased and reused the videotapes. Only scattered clips and approximately 10 surviving episodes remain. The $10,000 Pyramid, 1973–1974. Pyramid games built entire decades of television. The $10,000 Pyramid premiered in 1973 and became an instant staple of daytime television. Dick Clark hosted this word association game where celebrity and contestant pairs attempted to guess words through cryptic one-word clues. The game seemed simple until you actually watched it. Celebrity panelists provided clues while contestants desperately tried to unlock the pyramid's secrets. Higher levels meant exponential cash increases. The format proved so durable that it spawned multiple versions, including the $20,000 Pyramid and the $25,000 Pyramid. What made the $10,000 Pyramid essential viewing was its unpredictability. Celebrities often provided hilariously oblique clues, turning competitive game show into comedy improvisation. Panel regulars like Peter Falk, Paul Lynde, and Farrah Fawcett became household names because of their pyramid appearances. The show demonstrated that game shows could be both intellectually challenging and genuinely entertaining. Its longevity proved the format resonated across demographics. Even today, pyramid-style games continue appearing in various forms, proving the original design transcended its era. Gambit, 1972, 1976, 1980 to 1981. Blackjack never translated to television better than Gambit, which aired on CBS from 1972 to 1976. Wink Martindale hosted this show, blending married couples, trivia questions, and Vegas-style card gambling. Contestants answered general knowledge questions to access playing cards against a dealer's hand. The object seemed simple: get closer to 21 without busting. But Gambit's genius lay in forcing contestants to decide when to stop accumulating points versus when to keep gambling. Risk management became psychology. Couples could win vacations, cars, and substantial cash prizes by making intelligent gambling decisions. Martindale's baritone charm sold the stakes perfectly. The show was revived in 1980-1981 as Las Vegas Gambit, with Martindale continuing to host. Critics and audiences recognized Gambit as proof that game show formats could incorporate genuine adult decision-making. The show required actual strategy beyond just answering trivia correctly. Married couples developed their own gambling philosophies, with husbands and wives frequently disagreeing about risk tolerance. Gambit influenced countless game shows that followed, establishing that combining gambling mechanics with traditional Q&A created compelling television. Tattletales, 1974 to 1978, 1982, 1984. Bert Convy hosted Tattletales, essentially celebrity couples edition of the newlywed game with risque questions that shocked 1970s television. The format required celebrity couples where one spouse answered questions while the other waited in a soundproof booth. Then the separated spouse answered identically phrased questions. Matching answers won money that went to studio audience sections rooting for each couple. Convy's hosting became legendary because he possessed genuine comedic timing and could handle increasingly awkward celebrity revelations. Questions frequently touched on intimacy and personal habits, making celebrities visibly uncomfortable while audiences erupted laughing. Tattletales ran from February 1974 through March 1978, later returning for another run from 1982-1984. A syndicated version aired briefly in 1977-1978, though few episodes survived. Notably, the show experienced an eerie coincidence where several frequent celebrity panelists died relatively young from brain tumors, including Bert Convy himself, Bobby Van, and Meredith McRae. Some viewers joked about the Tattletales curse, though this certainly involved confirmation bias. What Tattletales accomplished was proving that celebrity-centric game shows could outperform regular contestant formats. The show depended entirely on panelist chemistry and Convy's ability to navigate comedic chaos. Sale of the Century, 1969, 1973, 1976, 1980s. Sale of the Century premiered in 1969 but achieved maximum popularity during the 1970s. Hosted originally by Jack Kelly, then Joe Garagiola, the show featured 3 contestants answering rapid-fire trivia questions worth increasingly higher dollar amounts. Unlike other game shows, Sale of the Century pioneered something revolutionary. Contestants could choose to exchange accumulated cash for actual merchandise prizes displayed on the stage. The show essentially asked whether players preferred certain money versus gambling for merchandise they hadn't seen. This decision-making element created genuine tension, distinguishing it from standard trivia competitions. Contestants had to evaluate whether winning $5,000 represented better outcome than risking it for an unknown prize package. The show ran successfully through multiple decades, proving its fundamental concept worked across generations. Sale of the Century influenced entire categories of game shows that incorporated consumer decision-making rather than pure trivia performance. Garagiola's charismatic delivery made the financial stakes feel genuinely important. The show demonstrated that game shows didn't require crazy stunts or celebrity panels. Intelligent format design and good hosting sufficed. Card Sharks, 1978, 1981, 1986, 1989. Card Sharks premiered in 1978, hosted by Bob Eubanks, and became an instant phenomenon. The game required contestants predicting whether the next playing card would be higher or lower than the previous card. Sounds simple until you realize contestants play against actual game boards, covering entire walls. Making correct predictions moves contestants up the board toward victory. Incorrect guesses send them backward. Card Sharks transformed this simple prediction mechanic into surprisingly tense television. Eubanks brought decades of game show experience hosting the newlywed game, giving Card Sharks credibility. The show's visual design created genuine drama whenever contestants approached winning positions. Later versions featured different hosts and iterations, but none matched the original 1978 impact. Card Sharks exemplified how minimal mechanics combined with strong hosting created compelling television. The show required no celebrity panels, no elaborate sets, just two people, a card table, and Eubanks's steady presence. Card Sharks proved that game show success didn't require complexity or gimmicks. Sometimes straight-ahead gameplay and quality hosting sufficed for keeping audiences engaged. The $128,000 question, 1976-1978. This show represented the evolution of high-stakes game shows beyond the 1950s quiz show scandals that devastated television credibility. The $128,000 question premiered in 1976 with Alex Trebek hosting the syndicated version. Contestants answered increasingly difficult questions worth escalating prize amounts, culminating in the massive $128,000 jackpot. Unlike previous quiz show scandals, the $128,000 question used verifiable questions with answers that couldn't be rigged. Trebek's intellectual demeanor lent authority to the proceedings. Viewers trusted Trebek wouldn't compromise the show's integrity. The format proved that audiences still hungered for high-stakes trivia competition despite institutional memory of 1950s corruption. The $128,000 question demonstrated television's capacity for redemption. By featuring a trustworthy host and transparent gameplay, the show rehabilitated the entire genre's credibility. Trebek appeared equally convincing, reading complicated questions whether the stakes were $5,000 or $128,000. His consistency across multiple game shows during the 1970s made him the decade's most recognizable game show personality, besides Bob Barker. Tic-Tac-Doe, 1978-1986. Wink Martindale hosted Tic-Tac-Doe, combining ancient tic-tac-toe gameplay with modern trivia questions. Contestants answered trivia to earn marks on a 3x3 game board, essentially playing noughts and crosses against a computer opponent. The show aired from 1978-1986 in syndication and became a staple for game show enthusiasts. Martindale's legendary status as game show host meant Tic-Tac-Doe attracted viewers specifically because they recognized his name. The show's format proved instantly understandable to audiences familiar with basic tic-tac-toe mechanics. By adding trivia requirements, producers elevated the game beyond childhood simplicity. Tic-Tac-Doe showed impressive longevity considering its straightforward concept. 8 seasons of syndication meant the show maintained viewership across multiple television markets. Martindale hosted hundreds of episodes, becoming synonymous with this particular format. Later revivals attempted capturing Tic-Tac-Doe's original appeal, but none matched the 1978 charm. The show represented game show design at its most elegant. Understand the rules immediately, enjoy watching execution unfold, appreciate when contestants win through skill rather than luck. Tic-Tac-Doe proved that childhood games scaled perfectly to television with minimal modification. Who, 1979-1980. Tom Kennedy hosted Who, a chaotic game show featuring contestants navigating giant game boards while dodging blocks placed by opponents. The show aired during the late 1979-1980 period and demonstrated television's appetite for physical game show elements combined with speed-based competition. Contestants raced through the board attempting to avoid strategically placed obstacles preventing movement. The game required genuine physical coordination beyond sitting and answering questions. Woo! Embodied 1970s game show experimentation at its most ambitious. The show's bizarre pacing and over-the-top presentation created cult status among devoted followers. Kennedy's enthusiastic hosting matched the show's inherent chaos. Whew! Proved that audiences enjoyed watching contestants navigate actual obstacles rather than merely answering trivia. The show suggested game shows could incorporate physical challenge without requiring entire renovation of television studio sets. Woo remains almost completely forgotten despite its high-energy format and distinctive visual presentation. Hardly any episodes survive, making it one of television's lost treasures. The show's basic concept influenced later game shows that incorporated physical elements. Celebrity Sweepstakes, 1974, 1976, 1977 to 1978. Celebrity Sweepstakes represented a genuinely unique concept, combining contestant luck with celebrity prediction. The show asked celebrity panelists to predict answers before average contestants attempted answering identical questions. If celebrities guessed correctly, contestants couldn't win. The format created genuine tension because contestants essentially competed against celebrity intellect rather than merely testing their own knowledge. The show ran in various iterations throughout the 1970s with notable hosts. Celebrities became motivated to provide incorrect guesses, preventing contestants from winning, creating adversarial game show dynamics rarely seen elsewhere. Celebrity Sweepstakes proved that game show success didn't require celebrity participation as entertainment, but rather as legitimate competition obstacles. The format was intelligent enough to suggest game shows could incorporate layers of strategy beyond simplistic question and answer mechanics. Celebrity Sweepstakes demonstrated that audiences appreciated seeing celebrities put in situations where their intelligence or intuition mattered competitively rather than serving purely as panel entertainment. The Joker's Wild, 1972, 1975, 1977, 1978. Jack Barry returned to television producing game shows after recovering from 1950s quiz show Scandal Controversies. The Joker's Wild, which premiered in 1972 and continued through multiple incarnations, featured contestants selecting categories from a slot machine-style device. Each category contained trivia questions. Correct answers earned cash while jokers appeared randomly eliminating accumulated winnings. The show created genuine suspense around the Joker appearances. Contestants played strategically, choosing when to risk accumulated money versus accepting current winnings. The Joker's Wild represented Barry's rehabilitation as a credible game show producer. Years after the quiz show scandals destroyed his reputation, Barry successfully created a new game show format that audiences trusted. Celebrities occasionally appeared on celebrity versions, but standard versions featured everyday contestants. The show's format influenced an entire category of game shows, incorporating random elements, preventing predictable competition outcomes. The Joker's Wild proved that game shows could successfully combine strategy, trivia, and luck into compelling television. The New Price is Right, 1972 present. When The Price is Right debuted in its new format on CBS in 1972, it revolutionized daytime television permanently. Bob Barker's iconic hosting combined with the massive big wheel and showcase rounds created cultural phenomenon status. The show asked contestants guessing product prices, which seemed revolutionary in 1972. Contestants spun the enormous big wheel. The show's basic mechanics remained elegant. Guess prices accurately and win prizes. Barker's charisma elevated the game beyond mechanical gameplay. The new Price is Right immediately became massive ratings success. The show proved that simple format brilliance, combined with quality hosting, created enduring television. Barker would host The Price is Right for decades, becoming synonymous with the show itself. The massive wheel became iconic television imagery. Contestants' emotional reactions to winning prizes created genuine television moments. The Price is Right dominated daytime television consistently, proving format durability matters more than elaborate gimmicks. The show's longevity in various forms continues today, cementing The Price is Right as one of television's most important game shows ever created. Family Feud, 1976, 1985, 1994, present. Family Feud premiered in 1976 on ABC, hosted by Richard Dawson, and became an instant cultural institution. The show asked families competing against each other, guessing survey-polled answers to questions. Family members conferenced before providing answers. Correct answers matching the most popular survey responses earned points. The beauty of Family Feud centered on survey-based gameplay, meaning no single correct answer existed. Multiple answers could prove equally valid. Dawson's genuine affection for contestants became the show's emotional heart. He kissed family members, asked personal questions, treated contestants like actual people rather than game show participants. This humanity distinguished Family Feud from competitor shows. Families genuinely enjoyed appearing, and viewers appreciated watching families bond through competition. The show's format proved so durable that it persisted successfully for multiple decades under different hosts. Richard Dawson's original run established the show's tone and values. Family Feud demonstrated that game shows could succeed primarily through format excellence and hosting excellence rather than requiring celebrity panels or elaborate mechanical elements. Before you go, honestly tell me in the comments, which of these game shows did you actually watch back in the 1970s? I'm betting at least 3 of these shows triggered genuine nostalgia. Here's my actual controversial take, though. 1970s game shows possessed more creative courage than anything networks produce today. Producers actually experimented. They tried bizarre concepts without focus groups or endless committee approvals. They created television that was weird and sometimes wonderful. Could the Joker's Wild or Hue exist in today's television landscape? Would network executives greenlight something like Tattletales with its increasingly risque questions? I genuinely don't think so. The 1970s represented game show television at its most adventurous. Comment below about your hottest take on 1970s game shows. Which one deserves revival? Which one should stay forgotten forever?